uh, the real rate of wage growth was negative because you were losing purchasing power because your wage growth wasn't keeping pace with the much higher 9% inflation that we saw 3-4 years ago. That has now shifted to where inflation is much more under control, and wage growth now is not only is no longer behind the inflation rate or below the inflation rate, it's now met and now is exceeding it. Again, that provides more purchasing power. So if you see more people working, and those who are working are seeing an increase in their wages to the point it's outpacing inflation, what does that do? It's a direct improvement attack on affordability. It's making people be more able to afford current house prices and current rates. So it's all about that wage growth outpacing inflation. That's the key number.
Art, before we go to the next slide, how much of this becomes a mindset when you start stacking the things that you've talked about over the last 3 or 4 weeks and then today? How much does that help the mindset of the average person out there thinking, can we buy a home? Should we buy a home? Can we afford to buy a home?
Well, I think to answer that question, I continue to say, and I see that the problem is, you got to quit looking at those headlines. You got to, so even now, so many of the headlines are so negative. And, there's this talk about, a majority, all these polls that a majority of people are not happy with the economy, that they think the economy is bad. Well, that directly conflicts with some of this data. GDP growth, the jobs report, the wage growth is outpacing inflation. Those are all good news. That's not bad news. That's all good news. So why is it that these polls are saying that all these people out there feel like things are awful? Prices have come down. Gas is down. I said last week, I went to the market and I could buy 18 eggs for less than $5. So I ended up buying 2 packages. I got 36 eggs for less than $10.
You're hoarding those eggs.
Well, yeah, but the point is like, so when I see that just personally and then see this data, because I look at this data all the time, I'm scratching my head going, why does everybody think things are so bad? So I think, unfortunately, and I don't want to get too much into that part of things, but I think the media, in terms of the stories that are written, and in particular the headlines, because I've argued many times, people are a little bit lazy. They have a short attention span. When you see on the news feed articles where it'll tell you how long it's going to take to read it, my theory is folks who see an article that may have some very important